Hi there, SixofQueens here, and learning still sucks. Last week was less than ideal, but I was still able to make some early progress that I'm pretty pleased with the alternating black key grouping exercise, as well as feeling pretty confident about which note goes to which key, and keeping the most basic of rhythms. Maintaining proper posture, while simultaneously not locking up and getting stiff, are still ongoing issues. That's what she said? But, work in progress. This week, looks like I'll be starting on some very simple tunes utilizing the middle C 5-finger position. Alright, that is something I did last week. You know, when the audio was dead. Possibly getting to the C chord by the end of the week. However, staying true to my philosophy from the start, my goal is to become proficient and then move on. Not try to rush through things as quickly as possible. So, the remaining half of Chapter 1 may take me a few sessions or weeks to get through. So, without further ado, before getting started with the aforementioned practice tunes, I'm going to go back and revisit my black key exercise. Have this be kind of a general warm-up thing for, the foreseeable future. I'm sure I'll come across other good warm-up things to do, but this seems like a fair one. So, it was... and... a little rougher than how I finished off the last session, but still better than I started with, and that's such an important thing to try and keep in mind all the time, is it's going to take you so long to get where you want to be that it's easy to always compare yourself as being short to your goal, as opposed to what may be a better way to look at it, which is to see how far you've come from your start. At least, I'd like to believe it'll work that way. So, I may spend another 5 minutes or so working on that. Again, keeping posture in mind, wrists flat. I do find that this is easier to do when I actually am concentrating on keeping my hands in a good position and not tensing up and because I do that a little bit. Don't know if it's noticeable on camera, but I can usually feel it in my muscles. Anyway, enough of that. A couple of minutes of this. Not too shabby. Alright? Warm up okay. I have a kind of a crink under my shoulder blade for like a day or two right up here. So it's not necessarily discomfort with just sitting here after only 5 minutes. It's just discomfort of being old. So, first song. Honestly, it's just a glorified practice piece. But it is Ode to Joy in the 5-finger keying position. So, you have R1 on middle C. I believe that's middle C. This is not a full keyboard. It's cut off on the top and bottom, and I don't know if it's cut off equally, because this is definitely not in the middle of the keys. In fact, there's not a C in the middle. It's either this or This one on the other side. Some of you will know, just hearing it, which of those was middle C, and you'll be screaming at me as to how I could possibly think that a different one is middle C. What am I, a moron? Please refer back to video 1. But, all that aside. Ode to Joy, 5-finger position, so it's going to be on the right hand, right one, C, D, E, F, G, and then left hand, L1 is going to be on the next G, and it'll be G, F, E, D, C. So, the most basic position. Playing Ode to Joy with this, it's the simplest, most iconic refrain from it. The beat pattern is ba, 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 ba. As going up and down through with the right hand, and then halfway through it goes to the left hand, and I think that's a repeat bar at the end. I mean, it's an exercise. Obviously, I'm going to be repeating it a bunch. So, I'll be doing that to match the rhythm. The booklet has both the note by name and which finger you're going to be playing it with. So, right hand starting with E, finger R3. This one. Anyway. I'm going to scoot my chair over so that my body is actually centered here. Whether that's middle C or not, it's the C I'm going to be playing. So, if you absolutely can't stand it, my God, have you picked the wrong video series to watch. Quips aside, let's get to actually practicing this. So, slow run first. So, clearly, especially with the left hand, you need to work on consistency. But that's what all this is for. So, off to the races. I don't know how much more I can do with that, honestly. So, I guess next piece, Au clair de la lune, or de la lune, or clair de la lune, depending on how American you want to say it. I'm sure I'll recognize this piece once I get started on it. This one, the basic beat is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then the left hand part is the exact same rhythm. In fact, it's the exact same notes even. So, this one starts with R1 on C, middle C, or not middle C. I swear, some of you are absolutely chewing your tongues off. So, this is... Whoop! Alright, messed that up already. Again, don't think I can do too much more with that one. So, So, good King Wenceslas. Oh, good King Wenceslas. Please refer back to video 1. Beat pattern for this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, and it repeats that exact same thing on the next line. Although this one does a little flip up to help you remember a concept from earlier, that if you're seeing notes with their stems pointing down, play with your left hand. Stems pointing up, play with your right hand. This one shows the left hand verse on top, whereas all the previous pieces have been the right hand verse on top, but just because it's on top doesn't mean that it's the one you're playing with your right hand. So, good note. I'll try not to use that pun all the time. Anyway, starting out with left hand, finger 2 on F. Let's see if I remember this song. Oh, it's that one. Okay, well, keep on with it. Okay. Not bad. Last is Frere Jacques, which, of note, will be the first time I will change hands within the same measure. Ooh. I bet this will take the rest of the week to get down. This one, the rhythm for top and bottom sections, or first line and second line, are the same, and that beat is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So, starting off with C, finger 1. those took less time than I thought they were going to. So maybe I will actually end up finishing out Chapter 1 by the end of the week. Because next will be exercises with C chord, and then a review section, and then on to music notation, which, looking ahead, cool. Okay, so Chapter 2 is a much longer chapter than Chapter 1, so I should probably not be overly pleased with myself at being able to play these dirt simple, glorified exercises. But, could be worse. And I guess having a nice positive start is better than having a really frustrating start. And so far, I have yet to come across, although it may come up in later chapters, the infamous running scales. The bane of all piano students. Getting wrapped across the knuckles for not practicing your scales. Well, maybe it's in here in the future for me. I don't know. I can't really think of anything to close the session out with, like something to say, but I usually just hard cut to the next one, don't I? Well, here goes the second verse, same as the first one. That's definitely gotten better. And now the four pieces from a few days ago, starting with left hand. All right, there's about 10 minutes of warm-up done. So now to some of the last bits of the chapter, the C chord. This is the middle five-finger C, I suppose, if there are any others. It is played on left hand, C, C, E, G, so that's 5, 3, 1 on the left hand, and then C, E, G, or 1, 3, 5 on the right hand. So being here, it is. Yeah, that second one wasn't it. Apparently, if you play them one at a time. It's a broken chord. Like that, I suppose. Also introduces the dotted half note, which gets 3 counts, not 2. Here, it also finally introduces the actual repeat sign, where it's a colon in front of 2 vertical lines. So, if you couldn't tell, I'm thrilled to be here right now. Anyway, this piece, Gentle Wave, is just chords, and it's getting me to do this in dotted halves. So, starting with, there we go. Starting with left hand. So, something about having my hands in this position is really causing my forearms to tense up right along the outsides, because I'm holding my hands like this to keep them close together, but also not. Am I supposed to keep my arms really tight in so that I'm basically squeezing in on my side, or leave them out? I don't recall there being clear instructions in this manual about that. Or maybe I just have to build those muscles up a little bit so that they can stand being in this position for a really long time. I'll go ahead and check back in here a little bit. Maybe there's something in the first chapter that I missed. If there is, I'll let you know. Cool. Just checked. No, there's nothing that answers my question. So, yet another one of the deficits when you're trying to learn by yourself. Because don't like instructors or classes, but they do have their limited usefulness. Or maybe great utility, as I may find out as I go on. But I feel like I have so little room at the front of the keys for my fingers to all rest, and that I have to kind of contort my hands to get them to be where they need to be for this. Maybe this is just the thing with this chord, or maybe I'm just doing it wrong. But I wanted to go ahead and share my difficulties because, quite frankly, that's the whole fucking point. Moving on. All right, and now for the review section. This is last page of chapter 1. And while I'm not going to spare you the written portion, I will save it for last. The played piece is called Block and Broken Chords. It's all 3/4 time, I believe. Actually, no, it's 4/4 time. My bad. And it has going up and down, the scales, the dotted halves, everything. So I believe that the beat is supposed to go 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1,
1, 2, 3. I don't know how effectively I got that across. I just don't want to show the page for reasons. But let's see if I can play it. Theoretically, I ought to be able to, but go really slow first time. Oh, already did it wrong. So the beat rhythm that I just did, these are actually two separate exercises, and I did them both together as though they were one. For anyone who thought it was weird that it switched time signatures halfway through, I should have noticed that, and I didn't. So the second one is starting with right hand. And now for the written portion. Got a pen and paper. This is just asking me to write the names of keys again, draw what notes look like, and place where my fingers are going to go to form the 5-finger C as well as the chords. So, you're not missing out on a whole lot. Be right back. All right, well, looks good. Another short session, about half an hour long. I mean, there's not much to go over in this chapter, although some may argue that it's the most important chapter. I think chapter 2 is going to be one of the most important chapters, as where the fun begins.
All in all, not a bad week. Though there's really not much else to say about it, given how little content there is to go over this early on. I mean, it is the introductory chapter, after all. That being said, with chapter 1 now behind me, I'm pretty sure the lazy, carefree days of having all of 2 practice sessions a week for 30 minutes each are well and truly done, if I ever plan to get anywhere with any of this. Having looked ahead a little bit, the learning curve looks pretty steep, and this bike only has 1 gear. So, while I dread the coming of tomorrow, don't forget to like, subscribe, and mercilessly undermine my sense of self-worth in the comment section down below.
Good luck, because I've got a several-decade head start on you.
So far, I practiced
3.27
hours over
2
weeks. Let's see what, if anything, I learn next week.